Radiant team ban. Alliances turn to ban. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Game 2, Cloud9 came up and looking for a repeat. They took the Lions last time they met. And we've seen 3 games now, Alliance versus Cloud9. What is it that makes Cloud9 so good against Alliance?
I think the first 2 games, it was very draft-driven, and Alliance going way too all-in with some kind of gimmicky strats. That game felt like a more straight-up game from both teams. I slightly preferred Cloud9's draft just because the last pick PA really acted as a nice counter to what Alliance were doing. So I think draft-wise, Cloud9 are doing very well against Alliance, but it seems like Cloud9 just make the more decisive plays come mid-game time, and they don't get thrown off by a bad early game. Like Alliance, when they had those bad early games against Cloud9, they fell apart. They also had drafts that didn't come back. And I feel like Cloud9 are a better team when they're under a bit of pressure. They recognize and use their timings better than Alliance do.
They do seem to have this practice coordination on Cloud that can't be beat by Alliance. Seems like when I'm watching their team fights, you know, I'm watching the, excluding Hester Joe's awkward. I'm watching the team fights play out for Cloud9. I feel like the setup, you know, they have near perfect positioning for, you know, the high ground pushes. I feel like, you know, everything flows pretty well. The initiation happens. There's a follow up. You know, wham bam. You know, all comes together. Alliance, I feel like it's a lot more disjointed. You know, some fun jumps in, and maybe that's just the nature of a sniper lone druid in that there is bit of overlap here, but I feel like there is a nice flow to the way that Alliance plays out these teams. It really does show when Cloud9 had such a strong mid game. They are going to get the lone druid into their hands. Ogre Magi, first pickup for Alliance C9, respond with LDCM.
I wonder if this is going to be like a straight up Ogre Sniper first too. It's probably one of the few situations where that Sniper first stage against the lone druid with an Ogre makes a lot of sense, but also, they didn't have the most success last game, of course, using the sniper. But this time around, they've got the ogre in their hands.
Reserve time.
Against the lone druid, besides the sniper pickups, unless the Alliance is really going to throw us a heavy curveball,
sniper
has to be the sniper.
Radiant team ban.
Well, Cloud9 must, I'm sure, expected this and have some idea in mind how to deal with it, whether it's going to be something similar with the PA pick, or, I mean, at the end of the day, like the lone druid sniper function very similarly. They don't have to deal with and address the sniper just yet. I think both teams will be eyeing off some of those off-lane gap closers, heroes like the Axe. The Legion Commander could be potentially a decent pick as well, but the Axe is the big one where you engage him with that potential Vanguard or Blade Mail to back you up, and you're very hard to deal with, as we saw last game.
What about the Crystal Maiden pickup? Because that is also kind of an interesting. Cloud9 could have had a wealth of supports behind the LD. Why CM specific?
Radiant team ban.
It's a comfort pick. I've seen them run it quite a lot for Rise, so I think that's part of it. It does leave things pretty open and enable a lot of their other cores. It doesn't actually have great synergy with the lone druid by any means. Perhaps they were worried about Alliance taking it. The Frostbite, kind of annoying because it's very easy to kill the Spirit Bear with it, but at the same time, if they took lone druid plus a different support, I doubt Alliance are picking CM in second. They still want to pick that sniper. So I think more than anything, it's going to enable some of the later Cloud9 picks rather than have any like obvious reason to be picked up with a lone druid.
Right, and what kind of picks do you think really benefit off of CM pickup?
I think for the offlane, like Sanking, perhaps more so than the Axe, maybe gets a bit more potent with the mana regen. And then looking towards the mid lane, and the Shadow Fiend is still viable here if you want to use it. I mean, like a lot of those just spamming mid laners who can just nuke out the lane, get rune control, start rotating around. I think what Baby Knight has been playing, he's been playing Viper lately, which isn't like the best hero to utilize the CM aura. Also isn't the best against the snipers, so not sure what he's going to end up on this game.
And so maybe with all this, the CM mana regen, and knowing that we're very likely to see some sort of spammers, that Cloud9 are going to play a kind of a split push game, you know, where they've got these kind of heroes that very rapidly push out lanes, and they're just able to buy time for Lone Druid to reach that later game. Because I do feel like that is part of the we saw in that last game, right? Is when the push comes in before you're level 20 for Lone Druid. And the last time, you know, Loda died. Last time he died, he was level 19. So close to that minus 40-second respawn, certain amount, that he was pretty much at the max timer you'll ever see a Lone Druid at, and the push came in and just rolled over.
5 seconds.
Maybe Cloud9 are gonna try and shore up that timing. Pushing type heroes, and I feel like, you know, Sand King or Clockwork, you know, like those kind of heroes, they're very good at being able to take advantage of the CM aura, and Sand King especially is quite good at being able to go for these fast pushes down the lane, like burrow strikes, and then, you know, kills the range creep and it all blows up. Earth Spirit's going to be the choice for Cloud9 here. A nice harassive 4 position for the mid lane.
I wonder if they're thinking Darkseer with this too. I was looking through, I was like, oh, the Darkseer is one of the few games that may actually make its way through after the second stage, but there's no Slaughter to pair it with. Alliance do have the Ogre, who it's like okay with, but the Earth Spirit is one of the probably better substitutes to the Slaughter to put an Iron Shell on. And Earth Spirit Darkseer, very good with the CM aura. There's a lot of pressure they can put on the lanes. Doesn't mean it's a CM like solo supporting the safe lane, but it's Lone Druid theoretically. Ace is normally the player playing that hero, so I think that's a hero that doesn't mind being a bit more independent and not having all that much support.
Shore up their lane. Although I guess they already got the Ogre mid, so maybe another support for them. Vengeful Spirit's still out there as a nice repositioning type hero for both offensively against the Lone Druid and also to help out Sniper. And minus armor is quite.
Yeah.
Dazzle got banned, so.
Wonder if they're still considering Lifestealer without the Slaughter on their side. Loda had 2 wins with it yesterday. It's all right against the Earth Spirit, and yeah, it will be a Lifestealer, so.
Team pick.
Can get caught by the silence, unable to rage it off. But if you're worried about like a Darkseer or Spirit dual lane, it's one of the perhaps the safe lane heroes that matches up better against the Darkseer than others.
All right, now what about this, gods? Lions pick up for a vehicle because they can't have Slaughter. They pick up Clockwork, right? You hook shot in, you cogs, and he Savage Roars, but you don't go anywhere because you can't run anywhere. What about that counter, gods? What do you think?
Oh, God. Imagine that hero inside's going insane. They're like, I gotta get back to my fountain. I can't. I'm trapped in here. That's how Dota 2 heroes will run into psychological issues.
Yeah. Seriously, though, he does need some sort of vehicle, right?
Yeah.
Alliance always.
It's Sand King Axe, probably and Clockwork. Ionis actually plays a lot of clock, more than most players, so could be that.
10 seconds.
I think the Sand King's more reliable, perhaps, as is the Axe. I think the Axe should be my preferred option, just because you go in the front lines, you pop your blade mail too when you blink in, and you're not as much like a Clockwork. You initiate in, and often you just end up dying, and your job's done. Like I think the Axe just has a bit more constant teamfight involvement and presence.
And it's better versus the Weaver as well, which we're seeing as a core pickup for Cloud9. So if he can get that Blade Mail, it's also nice because Weaver can't just Shukuchi run away. Blade Mail, or presumably Call, is still going to catch him with that AoE. Short work of the Weaver, even though picked up against that Lifestealer combo, just as well.
Yeah. The main thing with these offlanes we're talking about, neither team's going to have like a mech buy or anything. We're not going to see any of those like utility offlaners to get those items. Perhaps Axe, you can get like a Crimson Guard or something for the team, but no mech Greaves buys unless you're looking towards like a farming support, which Cloud9 don't really have. Spirit's thinking Blink Dagger, Ogre Magi perhaps. We've been seeing some Ogres get decently farmed, seeing some Solar Crests come into play, but does limit like your itemization come mid-game time as far as putting together those scary 5-man team fights.
Well, Alliance, we talked about the many different offlaners that they could grab here, and Alliance apparently feel like they have enough options that they'll go for the eventual fourth pickup instead of banned or under. Cloud9 ban away the Bat Rider as another kind of initiator, does match up well. Weaver and the Lone Druid, right? If you actually get the lasso, then who cares if the Spirit Bearer, Savage roars you or whatever? You just run even faster.
Yeah, helps you out. Yeah, interesting. They target that rather than like one of those axe sanking. I mean, even the Clockwork I feel are all currently played and picked more. Worried about the laning stage where Bat Rider can pressure the lane a bit more than others against certain heroes like a Lone Druid. But there's the Darkseer ban, so won't see any Darkseer or Earth Spirit. Alliance and Cloud9 both theoretically look for their offlaners. Cloud9 could mix it up and like a core Weaver in the off lane, and then pick a different mid, for example, or even safe lane, depending where they want the Lone Druid to go. But it does really feel like they want an initiator. The Earth Spirit is like a pseudo initiator, but it's not all that reliable mid to late game time.
Reserve time.
And only have a little bit of time to decide. Will it be Legion? Will it be the clock? Will it be... What else did we say? Oh, Axe, that's right. Axe was the best. Hey, I just assumed Axe was going to get banned, but...
Yeah, so did I. I guess both teams maybe thought they wanted it. Like, I feel like that's the hero Cloud9 wanted, so maybe they thought they could leave it in the pool, but...
10 seconds.
I like clock here. Friends the sniper a little bit. You're going to have
5 seconds remaining.
Versus... I think most of all, you need your offlaner to be active here.
Reserve
Because
time.
Lone Druid and Weaver are both kind of slow. You need something that's going to be...
10 seconds remaining.
Most of the other offlaners have been...
5 seconds remaining.
Underlord? Do we finally get to see the Underlord? Okay, well, they're doing the mid Warlock, the Baby Knight Classic.
All right.
This is like old school from them.
Weaver offlane it is. Warlock versus the Lifestealer Sniper. Warlock is such a scary hero for any initiating duo like Axe Lifestealer here. They start going on somebody, all of a sudden a rock drops on them. They're fatal bonded together. They're slowed down as well. At least the Axe will be from the evil. There's going to be a lot of hard problems if Lions do not find that Warlock for.
Yeah, so we'll see how they fare there. There's not really going to be like a clear frontliner for Cloud9, which is, I mean, they don't have a clear frontliner or initiator, so I do feel like this draft of theirs doesn't necessarily scale all too well. Like, they want to have a strong early game, find some nice laning stage pickoffs using the Earth Spirit, the Crystal Maiden, and start taking objectives early whenever they've got rock, because shortcoming draft will be exploited by Alliance.
Prepare for battle.
It would be interesting to see. This will definitely be a bit of a different pace from game one for C9. They're going to have to play a lot more careful about their timings. They certainly can't have the same kind of failed initiations that we saw in the beginning of game one versus C9, because there are going to be few and far times between where they can actually initiate and fight into Alliance. Once we start going mid-game, it's going to be all based around that chaotic offering time.
Well, the early TP's mid. Neuer sees the smoked up Ogre TP in, because he saw the little TP circle, and yep, he guesses right with the ward. Immediate D ward. Nice heads up play from him, so gets the slight advantage because he TP's in first, and...
Limp really needed that ward up. Probably going to need the presence of Hanskin in lane a lot more. As that ward is down, they has to Joe just to have it a little poke, seeing what's up. Alliance are all there, though, around their bounty runes, so we are just going to have a off, it looks like. Unless somehow the Spirit Bear can take the snipers, or really going to fight into this one. Fatal bonded up. This is going to take a lot of damage. They are going to try and turn onto Noya, see who gets the first blood first. Hanskin's away. Noya doesn't have the same kind of options, but he does have that Orb of Venom slow on all these heroes. They are all fatal bonded up, and they're all going to take so much damage from that.
And yeah, Limp did manage to get his bounty. That is a huge chunk of damage there. That was a good, like, 1,500, 2k damage almost, it felt like, across those 3 heroes. Very crippling stuff. They don't really want to go to their shrine. The shrine is too far away. It's also the mid laner's shrine. You don't want to take the sniper's shrine, so they're just going to have to chew through tangos in this top lane. 2 tangos for EGM to get full HP. Probably 2 tangos for Hanskin. Same for the life sealer. That's like 6 tangos worth of damage just dealt right there. That is a very good start for C9 with the fatal bonds.
Because Hanskin's not there, then immediately the Earth Spirit gets to go on Limp without fear of recourse, so they get a lot of damage now into Limp, force him to burn his healing self. As a whole, Alliance is almost completely out of regen already in the first minute of their laning phase. We'll see if C9 can abuse that some more. They have another roll in. Hanskin is here now, though, and this will a lot more even fight. I feel like the next bit of action is going to be when C9 rotate their Rise as the Crystal Maiden. Maybe they rotate him top and try and end, or maybe they bring him mid and keep Limp down.
Yeah, so he's jungled his fast level 2, gets the aura for the team. I mean, all that fighting going on, like that, this is where you're getting full value out of the aura. You want to be fighting and using spells if you're C9. Ace has an empty lane down bottom. He won't be using much, but the other 2 lanes are very active and trying to fight as much and often as possible. Now Baby Knight hasn't skilled up his heal though, but I imagine he'll be using that either for himself or aggressively fairly soon.
It's not quite the same, but Axe's Iron Talon jungling is, for the first 2 minutes, kind of similar to what it used to be. You don't have the quick suicide timing back to base, but you do at least get a pretty fast pair of Tranquil Boots. Hester Joe is going to be your first blood at top lane. Looks manage to catch him with the single counter ward they have.
EGM barely surviving through it, and poor EGM, itemless there, at least gets involved in the first blood to get him up to 400 gold, so can perhaps pick up some boots if he's not worried about the career upgrade. The haste through Noya is hunting. Oh, okay, he's not gonna go fishing for the kill onto the Venge, but he may find Loda some harass instead. With a rage, not sure they can get this kill. They may come close if they can harass a bit more though. They've got Swarm even as well.
Mr. Joe's really putting it to Loda right now, seeing if he could drop him low enough, but it's Loda plays back at the right time. Rustin Fawn has his boots, Tranquil Boots, now complete, so I'm not sure if level 4 is finally the time that you start laning up against Ace, but the push is coming and you none of that.
Yeah, you don't want to let this Lone Druid get a free tower uncontested by like 4 or 5 minutes in. Problem is, once Lone Druid gets his level 5 entangle, this lane gets very hard to manage. So it looks like Jonas is just going to keep stacking his jungle and continuing to farm.
Kind of playing it like the Enigma one. Sure, you know, have your time in jungle and then you just occasionally defend those pushes, but you never go out in lane against Druid. Don't give him that long lane to be able to there and tingle.
Yeah, now that he's shrined up, he will come to lane. He's actually higher level than Ace. Ace has been full-on solo safe lane free farm for the most part. I don't think he's really even shared the XP. Yet Axe through his jungle has leveled up faster. Just with that nice Iron Talon play, using his Shrine as well to maintain his HP. Blade Hester Joe wants the solo kill on EGM. Doesn't look like he'll find it. Central being planted. Poor EGM. Had 400 gold for boots, had to upgrade the courier, buy sentries, buy more observer wards, so doesn't even buy the boots.
Yeah, both these supports are actually pretty poor. Having to use all their regen early. I'll pick it up boots just yet. CM is sitting here inside the jungle waiting for Jonas Fawn because it's become a pattern now. Jonas Fawn goes jungle, then he pops out as the push comes in, and this is where Rise will punish Jonas. And this is, as you said, because he was getting so much experience out of the jungle, be a very big kill. Level 6 Axe ends up going down.
158 gold each. That's a pretty decent chunk for this early on in the game, and probably more importantly, the tower as well, so, or equally important. So they'll get that early objective. Ace getting the last hit and all. That's his phase boots. He's level 6 now as well. Laning stage going very well for Cloud9. Roll in top. Rage it off.
Our mid lane, it's 5 minutes and our mid laners are kind of inexperienced. That's just because they've been dual laning so much against each other. Baby Knight's just about to pick up his level 5 in Limp. His opposite
crazy.
Our jungle.
And both of them level 4 at this stage. Okay, level 5 now on Baby Knight, as you said. But top bottom lane, they've got another kill on Jonas. This Cliff Ward, they know exactly when he comes into the lane, and Rise. This is like the dream CM game. Like when your lanes aren't being contested and you get to jungle bit, you get so much out of those early levels. And the lanes are being heavily won by C9 as a result.
Nice roll in by the Earth Spirit, catches the Ogre. Baby Knight's image is way too big at this point. Shadow Ward's level 3. How much damage is that? 350. Like, yeah, it's like 400 damage. That's a ton.
Significant.
That's a ton, especially for a poor little support who's maybe a little under-leveled.
Oh yeah. Ace has already got this bottom tower down to well below half HP. And the Radiant Vision right now is very problematic. Ryze is coming in, stealing neutral last hits. This ward at bottom and mid sets them up to take the tier 1 mid tower, helps keep Ace safe while he's just free farming bottom lane. Like, he's pressuring a tier 2 tower because he's got this amazing vision. Ryze on this CM has been fantastic. I mean, the entire C9 team, everyone has achieved their goal coming in. Like, the Earth Spirit's pressured all the lanes, Fours have all won their lanes, and Weaver's been disrupted up top. Every single lane has gone according to plan.
He's going to be caught behind the tower, but a nice ultimate gets dropped by Baby Knight, hitting on 3. That'll be Limp down first. Loda is about half HP as well. With the Golem on top of him, he's going to have to invest. Pops out, can't make it out alive. Has to Joe finish him off with Shikuchi, and will collect Hanskin's soul as well. You want some fun? It looks like he went for Ace, but in the back line couldn't finish him off, and now he will inevitably be kited to his doom. Tier 1 tower going to get dropped as well. This is apparently how you run a lone druid lineup. Goddamn, 7 minutes in. Yep. 2 tier 1 towers down, and a tier 2 almost down as well at 350 HP.
That's crazy. We saw this last time too with C9, because we were talking like, oh yeah, Lone Druid will farm a bit more, take longer to come online, and then Ace is like, nah, I'm just going with my team. 5-man at 6-7 minutes in the game, not worry too much about it. And very early towers taken. Great team fight. They knew Loda might TP in to defend that one, but they had the Rock ready, and also they had the Lone Druid there, so they had 2 disables to go through his raids. They entangled him up. CM even got away, and if not for Loda using the Infest to just nuke down the CM, that would have been 0 kills for Alliance, but by using the Infest, he also sentenced himself to death, so very good objective taking from Cloud9 in mid lane. They'll probably play a little bit more defensively now while the Rock's on cooldown. They've split up across multiple lanes, although I say that they've also got 4 heroes up top. It's just Ace really off by himself at bottom lane, trying to finish this tier 2 tower, knowing how low it is.
Yeah, Hester Joe actually popped his Shikuchi and ran backwards just to hide from the incoming creep wave, trying to disguise their push. That being said, there is at least one ward that will spot some rotations, and it looks like Yonosafan does see Noya, does manage to get the call with Loda and Hanskin nearby. They should be able to burst him down. The Weaver may be able to get some vengeance, though. He does have a good swarm on out. Rise is going to also be a target. Yonosafan with the extra Culling Blade movement speed, very necessary. Looks like he may get himself out. Shikuchi damage is going to be a little bit more. Loda's trying to help him out by eat that bug. There goes the armor, but it's still going to be enough. Baby Knight helps collect it through the Fatal Bond. So Alliance actually get 1 for 1, but they lose their offlaner for that support. As Joe running around still has his time lapse up, and his Shikuchi to be well far enough.
Easy escape for him, no follow-up dust or sentries, and they're going to get top tier on tower. I like that Ace, very selfless from Ace. He had the bottom lane free to himself, could have taken the tier 2 tower. He just left the creep wave there, hitting it to TP top for that fight. He knows that his team aren't quite as strong without that Warlock Rock, so he needs to be there. And the end result is very favorable for C9. They have a close to even trade in terms of kills, slightly favored for them, but more importantly, they turn the kill into an objective. The tier 1 tower now gone. Every single tier 1 tower has been claimed, and C9 have fully taken over this Alliance side of the map.
And C9, when they were responding to this kind of pressure, right, they waited out until they had the Blink Dagger. Now, they waited out until they had the Blink Dagger on the Axe to be able to finally turn and pick their mid-tier 1 tower. Yeah. Here, Yonosafan's timings have been delayed enough, in a large part because of Rise's influences, the Crystal Maiden, that he still does not have a Blink Dagger while a tier 2 is being challenged at top lane.
That is. It's also just how early this pressure comes in. Like, you don't expect Axe to have a 9-minute blink dagger. Axe's blink timing actually looks like not too shabby, all things considered. Like, okay, he was Iron Toweling, jungling, and like not being contested too much, but once you start losing tower, you lose some farm. You expect Axe to have like a 12-minute blink at a that's a reasonable timing, and he's going to have a 12-minute blink, but C9 have taken basically 5 out of towers with how low the bottom one is in sub 10 minutes. That's an insane pace that they're playing at right now.
It does mean Alliance, when they get that blink dagger, if they can actually get some good team fights, a huge amount of gold will just flow into their coffers, because they've 7,500 gold lead right now. For seeing one team fight could probably cut that in half if they get the right kind of initiation. Ace is not going to be caught out just yet.
He's got no TP out. He needs to either tuck himself in the trees or find some way to retreat through the lane undetected, which it looks like through his positioning he will be okay. Either needs support or needs to just wait that 20 seconds to TP out, and support is on its way.
The scan's really not going to tell them much, except for the fact that Ace is still here.
Importantly, Warlock doesn't have a TP though, so without the Warlock coming in, it could be a tough fight. But yeah, again, like I said, the scan is probably like one of those, well, someone's there, but the fact they haven't TP'd out makes you nervous, and it looks like Alliance aren't going to go for any diving. I don't think Alliance is in any kind of position to go for dives. Loda isn't there. Loda's level 8. He's under-leveled and under-farmed. Doesn't have his armlet. I mean, everyone on the Alliance side is somewhat under-farmed, outside of perhaps Jonas, you'd argue. And the result is that they do not want to... They want to go for pickoffs and smokes, but they don't want to have to dive towers where C9 are already set up to retaliate.
This is not the same Oda, Midas lifesteal that we saw in the games versus Amas. They are going to go for that infest gank now with the blink dagger up on Jonas and Fawn. It is so crucial that this initiation goes well for them.
They got to catch Baby Knight, I feel.
Yeah, they've got to stop this chaotic offering from being dropped. But I'll run into other heroes first.
Ace is in melee form, just giving himself extra survivability. Rise very well positioned in the trees. Baby Knight, though, is a bit vulnerable here. Does have the point booster for some survivability.
Oh yeah, managed to get a silence off on EGM. He's the first one to pop it, goes straight to his shrine. They do manage to catch Baby Knight, and they actually kill him before Culling Blade gets dropped, and there is going to be no chaotic offering in this engagement. Alliance now still have the opportunity to push out here. Hanskin threatening Ace as best he can. They do have some damage dealers, so they can at least finish off that Spirit Bear and catch Hesta Joe. Nice play by Jonas and Fun. Still managed to get the stun onto him with the Assassinate, but they lack counter vision after the Assassinate has faded. But, yeah, so they did get Baby Knight. Not the huge win we were hoping for Alliance, but that was about a 1,200 gold.
Yeah, it's as good as it's going to get for you. I mean, it's like you take that if you're Alliance. Like, you need to get something. You need to make sure you win that fight. Problem is C9 are already back, pressing the lanes. Low Druid's coming down mid, and that is not where you want to be, EGM.
C9. Literally charging at the lane. They die. They're like, all right, we just wait for Baby Knight to come back, and boom, straight down mid, straight to the tier 2. I mean, that fast kind of play clearly catches Alliance off guard, gets him. They're also out of position to defend this tower.
That's it. More than anything, it's Alliance. They're not set up to go for that smoke play again. Like, ideally, like they don't have long cooldowns they're playing around, but it's the positioning. Like, they see Loda at bottom. They know that he is currently not infested in an axe. The one thing they're scared of is when Loda and Jonas are missing from the map, potentially smoked up and blinking on the Warlock, as we just saw in that bottom fight. That's the one thing that can win Alliance a fight. It's like the only win condition for a team fight they have. And as long as you see like one of those heroes on the map, you know you can safely push. You get the last side of tower. Now you start taking shrines. Now you set yourself up to take Roshan. And if you look at that being the way you lose a fight in your Cloud9, you could theoretically even give Baby Knight the Aegis just to protect him from that jump.
So Warm will push Alliance. C9 probably going to start setting up for a push in bottom and back that other shrine. But some fun with the haste rune. He's going to run into Noya. Maybe they could quickly burst him down. Magic Missile is just not enough. Assassinate's coming out. That'll bring Noya a little bit lower. Jonas Upon may be able to jump back in and get that Culling Blade, but Hester Joe is charging in deep, and looks he's trying to cancel that Blink Dagger. Loda actually receives the Savage Roar, stopping his TP, so now he's the next one in trouble. And I don't think Alliance have the turnaround potential. He turns, fights, tries to go kill the Spirit Bear, but Leona Samfan and Limp are going to leave him to die.
Problematic. C9 probably too early in the game to really turn that into objectives with the low respawn times, while the Shrine perhaps a pseudo objective. Jonas is still positioned at bottom. He's going for this. That's a lot of creeps. Savage Roar
Savage
on
Roar.
cooldown.
Chaotic Offering is also going to be dropped there to help save him, and they do get the Entangle to stop the TP. Jonas upon high risk play, had some high reward opportunities to it, but
yeah, I don't mind him going for that play. You're in a pretty desperate position as it was, and I think without that rock, it would have been very close to a kill because the Savage Roar was on cooldown on the Spirit Bear. So without that available, it was a bit of a dicey situation for Ace, but heads up play by Baby Knight, just dropping the rock. Your lone druid going down is a pretty big deal at this stage, since it will just slow down the tempo you're playing at, will delay the Roche, delay a couple of item timings, delay potentially even looking to break the high ground, so now you've just got to sit back, wait for that rock to come up. You can theoretically, yeah, even take Roche without the rock because of Alliance being so much on the back foot, and you've got the Swarm as well, Spirit Bear to take it with.
He killed. Not even the Warlock Golem is going to be a pickup for Alliance. It actually just dies naturally at 100 HP.
Gives all the vision Cloud9 need to know they're not being contested with Roche. They even scan the Shrine to make sure, well, there's no Shrine there, but they scan anyways to make sure nothing's going on. And Alliance is like, oh, I wonder if they're Roche. Let's scan on top of it. But until they leave the pit, scan tells them nothing.
13-4, C9 already one game up in this series, and they're 10,000 gold ahead in game 2. Experience it even though.
Here is the Hail Mary from Alliance. They smoke up into the Aegis. They know there's no rock, and I think having no rock is more important than there being an Aegis on the other team, so it's the right time to go for this kind of a play. Can find a core pick-off. Even a Weaver saying would be nice. Weaver's going straight into the Ag Scepter as a core hero, and I think with good reason.
Ace, he does manage to get off the melee for him. That's going to make him so much tankier. The kick actually misses out. They are still pursuing this one. At the same time, Alliance went on top lane. God has to Joe. Noya's going to be running around here. Ace is going to be losing his Aegis here. If Hanskin has his way, the heal is barely doing enough. Now the Savage Roar plus Frostbite. Somebody finish him off. A Wave of Terror will do the trick. Now he's going to come back in range for him. They don't have a whole lot of stuns. EGM's out of mana, but maybe Limp can still do it. It gets enough right clicks in. Needs a little bit more for the Assassinate to finish him off, and Ace not going to go down. He manages to get away.
Some bold play pays off for Alliance. The smoke gank was actually up top. They caught the Weaver farming the lane up top with the Axe Lifestealer duo, and then that fight around mid lane. There was no Weaver, there was Warlock Rock still on cooldown, so very well played by Alliance, just striking when Cloud9 is slightly weaker. Despite there being an Aegis, that also stops there being an Aegis when the Rock is back up, so you're less afraid of having to defend your high ground now.
Yeah, you know, I was watching top. I was like, all right, the smoke gang's heading up towards that Weaver, and all of a sudden I see Vengeful Spirits over here on the map. I'm like, what? He's swapped, and I can't believe Alliance made that kind of play, fighting as 3 into that Aegis, but it worked out. Jonas Sampan's going to be chased down here. He's got the Swarm on him. He doesn't have any way to blink out. Looks like it could be his death. Ogre and Venge, they're just a little bit too far away.
Time-lapse even just get rid of some of that spin damage to make sure they can keep potentially applying pressure here. Ace goes, it's Mjolnir complete. No, goes for the Hurricane Pike first, so wants to be able to positioning item. And C9 with Aghanim's Warlock likely going to be eyeing off a team fight of some sort. The easiest to force that fight on a high ground push now without an Aegis. The Lone Druid can try and sit back with his range advantages to hit the buildings. But I think for Cloud9, they'll actually slow this down a little bit and only take fights outside of the Alliance base, at least until they get like another core item or two.
Funny, we talked about the Lone Druid and Weaver and how they would need time. Cloud9 just don't play that way in the beginning. They use the Lone Druid to take all these outer towers, and now if they want, they just sit back and farm for days.
Yeah, they got double Midas on supports. Like both CM and Earth Spirit will scale pretty nicely, and more importantly, get all their key levels. So by the time they go for that high ground ending push, these heroes will at least have like all their basic spells maxed out. CM can benefit a lot from having like the max out Nova as well as the Frostbite, and get a couple luxury items on these supports. Warlock eyeing off for Refresher now as well. So there's really no rush for Cloud9 because of the strategic advantage they're in, and I mean the double minuses, the farm advantage is going to get bigger and bigger as well.
Up to a Ith. I'm definitely feeling Refresher's a little bit better.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, whatever.
But I don't think whatever item he gets at this point doesn't matter. You know, I feel like he could, I don't know, get a Desolator and be fine. But they're in a very dominant position. But yeah, the Refresher to me seemed like the reliable way to end the game.
Maybe he'll have a quick reaction, stop Yosem Fran's Blink initiation. He is trying to work on a Blade Mail right now. They're backing up Limp as he tries to go for his push at bottom lane, but a Radiant scan. C9 did have an idea of what Alliance were up to. With scan, get out Limp, trying to team fight.
C9, they're going to bait this with the Rock. Yeah, I think they will. With the Rock there, if Hesjo gets gone on, you can easily turn it around. Bring an Infest Lifestealer and the Axe engaging into a Rock would be a disaster, but Alliance also figure out what's going on with their scan, so they will safely scurry away.
Alliance make the read as well. They back up, farming time on both sides, but it's always going to be a bit more efficient for C9 with Ace on the other side of the map towards his.
Yeah, C9 are farming more of the map, they're farming with Midases, but Gold Grab has somewhat plateaued out, at least over the last 5 or 6 minutes, with Alliance able to put together a little bit, get a couple towers here or there. Still feels like their way back into this game is very limited. The Lifestealer is not really scaling very well, and he's never going to match up well against the Chaotic Offering or the Lone Druid, so it's going to be and even the Weaver, it's going to be very tough. And that initiation of alliances with the infested Lifestealer will get taken away with an Axe Weaver.
Oda, get here fast! We need your damage! Oh,
that is unfortunate. Oh, he walks back in.
Alright, Yoda Saban, don't try and chase. He's going to get hit by a boulder. Eyes out the broadsword for his... At least he won't lose gold here.
Yeah, when this Weaver gets an Axe, which is coming sooner and sooner, that Blink call with Infest Bomb is suddenly gonna not work so well. Unless it's on the Weaver himself, but often they want to go on the Warlock. Like that fight at bottom where they kill Warlock, that just doesn't happen anymore with the Axe Weaver.
Yeah, that really is the triple threat, right? Ace is squishy and deals all this damage, but you can't jump in because there's the Axe Weaver. Go on the Axe Weaver. There's the Warlock Chaotic Offering that's going to be dropped on you instead. Hey, this is a great last pick. Switches things up quite a bit for C9, and for that whole bomb situation, now we're going to get an action here. Good start for Alliance, managing to bring down that Spirit Bear. Still can't deal with Ace, the true sniper of the group.
Yeah, the bear melted. They traded bear for some decent damage on a tier 3 tower, but boy is that bear squishy with the minus armor from the Howl and the sniper hitting it. Painful thing is, even with the Mjolnir on it, like the range of the sniper is such that he's not even getting hit by it, it looked like.
Bo3 finished up his Desolator. He's close. He's actually... So, big upgrade in damage. They need this kind of burst. They need to just be able to pop someone before Cloud9 can even react.
Yep.
As to Joe before he picks the bag at himself. But as I say that, he backs away from the...
Yeah, so see what Alliance can do with the Desolator, whether they try and get aggressive or if they're going to perhaps worry more about the next Roche, I think, testing that. would be ideal, but also vision-wise, they don't have much spotted around that part of the map. Does feel like Alliance is just happy to kind of split the map a bit, have a couple heroes farming and pushing top, same at bottom, and they're just trying to use what wards they have down in this bottom side of the map to not get caught out.
They gotta find some way to a 9 to split up, and because ultimately I think they split up and then they farm and everything. That's all good for Alliance, and they do need some recoveries. I think ultimately what they're going to need here is a pick-off to really buy them some.
Yeah, the cores seem to be keeping up like decently well. Like the difference has been maintained, but it hasn't increased. But the supports, the minuses, they're kicking in slowly, and yeah, the split push from Alliance is getting them some. No, I mean it's more like a split farm than anything. It's getting them farm, but it's not creating that opening back into this game. So
we went that pick off. They're gonna have to do it so soon. Roshan's up, and that probably means C9. As soon as they spot that, they're gonna group up.
And Rise scouts it immediately, so that's a useful position for him to be in. He's got the wards to try and set up around the pit as well. Make sure there's no dire ward on the cliff, and him and Noya are ready to set up for this one. If they see a couple heroes at bottom, I imagine we'll see and just go straight into that Roche. Probably won't be too afraid. They've even got the Spirit Bear out scouting. Speaking of which, he's trying to steal bounty runes with it, and he'll get it.
Got it.
Paid for. Okay, that's not worth 300 gold to the enemy team for a bounty rune. No, thank you.
Oh, they go straight into the pit anyway, it seems, with a double damage on a... Well, he doesn't have a Spirit Bear. This is actually kind of risky for C9. They're trying to push out, see if they can catch EGM. They will manage to slow him down, hold him in place. Now, they are going to be comboed up here, sandwiched between Limp on one side and Loda on the other. Noya does manage to roll his
Ace wants Roche. He doesn't want to help.
Ace is brought Roshan down to half health.
He's winning the 1v1 against Roche. Roche just, I don't know what happened. Like, nerf, buff after buff, Roche still seems easier and easier to kill every patch.
Especially right now when running so much minus armor, physical damage.
Yeah. Well, now Alliance's high ground defense will likely be tested. Warlock's Scythe of Ice will be completed. Another Midas, a couple of creeps. And item-wise, what else are they waiting for? The Skadi for Ace is almost there as well. He's just like 1,000 gold short of that, so likely wait for these next couple big items to complete, and then the word will probably be, let's go. Let's end this game. They've got the Ags on Weaver, and they'll potentially find a pickoff now. Jonas pulling from the urn.
Urn, and now the man. Hi, Jonas and Pon. And Astro Joe even gives Noya that full heal.
Healing back up, and push stuff back out. Crew's at the secret shop, so that's going to be Baby Knight. Don't think he needs to save for buyback at this point. There's not really any point. If you're pushing and you die, you buy back. It's not like you're TPing in or anything, so. And Lone Druid very close to his Skadi.
Oh, the smoke is popped. Alliance, see a bug, immediately skedaddle. Everyone to the trees! To the trees! Get away, Ogre, everybody. Alright, we're all good.
Doesn't have
except
one.
for Hansko.
He's trapped, not pretty low level, so if he does die, he'll at least hopefully be back alive for Alliance before the high ground push comes in, but doesn't look like he's going to get caught out. Question is now, which lane and how do C9 go for the high ground? Are they going to push in multiple lanes and try and split Alliance up? Do they just try and 5-man brute force down a lane? Spirit Bear is proven to be very squishy, so we may wait till he has a... He's going to have a resummon fairly soon, in 55 seconds, so perhaps that and the Skadi is what they're waiting for.
Got the Skadi on the bear.
Oh, that's...
One way to tank it up, yeah, I guess. Alright,
yeah.
Like, what the hell is he doing?
Yeah, that's...
Oh, they're waiting for level 22. He's so close to it.
Yeah, that actually makes total sense. And theoretically, you're like close to having 3 lives or something, but this creep wave will just about be his level 20.
Can't see experience.
Oh, when you hover over, yeah, that's true.
Come on, Valve. You know what they also need to do? Update the draft screen. My God, is that screen boring. I turned in to watch a game the other day in Dota TV, and it started off the draft screen. I instantly turned it off. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Well, I just want all the bugs fixed with it as well, like with the arrow pointing the wrong way and stuff, but I sent a bunch of feedback with like all the different bugs and stuff that need fixing, and they were like, yeah, we're working. It is being worked on. There is a new drafting UI coming soon, apparently.
Oh, the swap, Baby Knight. He's the target. Not quite the combination they really hope for. He can get off the ultimate now. He turns around, sight the Vice, up EGM. Now the Golems will have their way with him, or maybe not. Loda defends EGM's life, kills one of the Golems, almost gets one of the other ones. Now Yonasapan managed to almost catch Ace. What was that? He get a 4-staff right through him. EGM, nice silence in the back lines. Frostbitten up, but Limp is still shooting as the Assassinate managed to finish off the CM, and now the Aegis falls from the Lone Druid. Well, they're going to go for it, though. They don't have a bear, but they do have a numbers advantage. 4 versus 2 against Limp. Lifestealer.
Golem's just melted.
And Baby Nine has some long range of that sight device. He's actually just going to try and TP away. That was weird. That's one form of initiation, I guess. Good kick forward. Noya trying to help out his buddy. Has to joke, get your ass out of the way. Ace is trying to make his way through, trying to stay ahead of Lifestealer. He'll be good.
Like, this is the point where, I mean, saying in the draft we talked about how neither team's going to have that, like, teamfight utility items. This is where it hurts C9. Like, if anything, it feels like Earth Spirit or even CM not having, like, a Vlads, not having a Crimson Guard. They have no, like, plus armor items or, like, a mech even to help them out. Like, those Golems just melt. Any hero that gets caught out, like Warlock, just looks like paper there with his low armor. I mean, he's not low armor, but he's not high armor. He's only got 8 armor, no bonus armor. So if they have items like Crimson Guard, Vlads, Greaves, those kind of pushes are a whole lot easier, but that's something they just don't really have the heroes or lineup to go for. But I feel like some other teams, like if this was like Puppy or someone playing Earth Spirit, he'd have a Crimson Guard right now with a Solar Crest. And that Solar Crest would be getting put on the Lone Druid or the Spirit Bear. Crimson Guard would be getting popped to help go for those pushes, and I feel like that's something that C9 are just lacking.
Giants gonna do C9. Wait for the Chaotic Offering. I won't imagine they're gonna wait for another Roshan, so Alliance better come up with a game. Last defense was okay, but a whole lot better as they start chewing through those buybacks.
Yeah, we'll reach a point where C9 slowed down as far as how much they do scale. Warlock is going to go for the refresher, so we'll see the double rocks come into play. But I mean, Sniper, amazing at killing those rocks. If he's sitting far enough back, he'll kill them very quickly. We saw how fast Loader can deal with them as well. So if he gets that refresher like at a later stage of the game, it won't necessarily be a big game winner, but C9 looking to close things out, find an easy pick on EGM. There, they can do in response, and they are grouped up around this mid lane.
I kind of wonder if C9 are just gonna I will out here. Single high ground push.
Yeah.
If Alliance defends another one, and they have to wait out on Sean Aegis. Hey guys, we need that extra life. Alliance, they're actually going to get really big. Like, Limp has the Scotty already complete, and it is very dangerous item to push into just because the retreat is so much harder.
And it's the fact that both Load and Limp have Bloodlust as well, giving them additional chase and additional damage output. And Skin caught out.
They're
Kick won't land, but they are, but they're not like the big picks, you know? It's not Loda, it's not Jonas, it's never Limp. Limp is always very far back, and I feel like eventually it's one of those games where it's like, okay, Cloud9, they're not really getting enough, they're really starting to break high ground, but all it's going to take is one key hero pick off, like on Loda or on Limp, and that's like the game one right there, potentially. Even if they have a buyback, if you can get on the high ground as they buy back, you've got the position, and you've taken away that high ground defender's advantage, and suddenly the game can just be won right there. So it does feel like we're just like one big pick away from C9 winning the game, but at the same time, if Alliance continue to play in position well, Limp, may find himself caught out here. There is a kick.
Oh no!
Guess is wrong.
You're setting it all up, cause you're like, we're just one pick away, and that pick almost happens.
That was no buyback. That was game over right there. Like, okay, maybe Alliance don't GG out, but they lose. They would have probably lost 2 lanes of Rax if that pick happens.
Dead. Going to have Loda picking up perhaps at Solcuras before this high ground push ever comes in from Cloud. So
Yep.
it's getting a little risky. I kind of have to wonder if Baby Knight's choice of getting a sight device, which I feel has not been effective yet.
What's this item even do for a Warlock? You're not an initiating hero.
Don't know. It literally killed him because he ran in and sight deviced up a sniper, and then buyback happened and he got inside the base. You know, it's like, if he had Refresher in that one team fight where he drops it on 2 and hits EGM, and if he drops another round, like EGM is surely dead. They keep Lifestealer a little bit controlled as well. Bear may die again here. Ace is actually going to be without a Spirit Bear for 2 minutes. Now the initiation comes in. Noya actually not hit by that one. Does manage to get a stun up onto Lim. Lim's caught in the corner. Swap back. EGM does save his buddy. Lotus now going to be sight device. There's the use of it. Ace is controlling him. Oh, freezing field. The right-hand side almost brings down 2, but it's not good enough. Not going to last. Yonasavan desperately chasing onto Ace. They need to be able to get these backline heroes. Yonasavan, he will end up going down. Loda fights it out with the golems and finishes them off, but Hesta Joe is here trying to clean up, and Ace is on his way as well. Alliance, they're not healthy enough to be able to fight this one anymore. They need to leave. Loda needs to get out. He needs to armlet toggle through all this, but it's not going to happen. Hesta Joe, he gets stunned up, but he does manage to get off the ulti. It will survive. Limp is up to defend against this, but Loda does not have buyback for 70 seconds.
That's some ballsy play from Rise's CM. He just goes blinking in on top of the sniper with the frostbite into freezing field. It was after Limp got swapped out. Limp was in the perfect spot to just clean up, win that fight for Alliance. If not for Rise's play, he throws away his life there, but he gets Sniper down really low, gets Ogre down low as well, and forces the Sniper to use his Hurricane Pike defensively. That really salvages that fight for Cloud9. So very good aggressive play from him, even though he doesn't get the kills and he ends up just dying. Make sure that Cloud9 can come out on top, but again, it's not a big enough fight victory for C9 to actually get a lane of Rax or anything, and still Alliance feel like they can press out and push forward. This is without Lifestealer. They want to make sure Roche isn't happening, and he hasn't respawned yet, so will play out into their favor. Well, unless they want to get Roche, but I don't think they realistically could have killed Roche in a timely enough fashion.
Smoke down though, and C9 won't get an Arcane Rune too, so this means that Spirit Bear is going to have a lot less cooldown. Oh, Hesta Joe just runs right into Alliance as a 5-man. That's a huge pickoff. That Ags upgrade on the time-lapse is so critical for C9.
That's as Roche respawns, but it's very risky for Alliance to go for Roche, even with the pickoff, because they're right by that Radiant Shrine. A potential buyback can come in from Weave. I say that, he just buys out some items. He buys a Diffusal, so not sure that is the play to spend your buyback money while you're dead, but either way, it doesn't look like Alliance are going to go for Roche. As I said, it's very difficult for them to go for that. They don't know the Weaver's buyback status, and their lineup does not kill Roche in a fast enough, timely fashion.
It could also be that the C9 have made the call that if Alliance do go for Roshan, we don't contest, and that could be because of the Chaotic Offering still being on cooldown. True.
And it's just about to come back up. I feel giving them this Roche is...
the Refresher plus Arcane Rune too. If that timing was just a little bit closer, C9 surely would have contested. If they were like, oh, Roshan's going on now, and we have Chaotic Offering with the Chaotic, with Arcane Rune and a Refresher, like, oh, that's go time, baby.
Yeah, I think you're right that they just didn't. They made the call not to contest it because they didn't know Roche was so long away from, like, that Alliance were taking so long to actually commit. Because if they committed 20 seconds earlier, then they wouldn't have even been close to that Chaotic Offering cooldown. But now, this game is suddenly a bit more open, and the win potential for Alliance is definitely there with the Aegis on Limp. They've got the Cheese as well on Loader. They're hunting through this Radiant jungle looking for picks, and gotta be careful if you're Cloud9.
That is Yonasavan just not see Rise. He's been like, they've been kind of tracing each other through this whole entire jungle, and Yonasavan has just not been at the right place at the right time to find this free kill. Maybe they'll spot him now. Alright, Rise. It's away.
Warlock cannot afford to get caught out in these fights now. has the refresher and does not have the buyback, this is the worst possible time for him to get initiated on. Does have the time lapse, so there's a lot of pressure on Hestejo to make sure if he does get jumped on that you get that time lapsed off.
I like this attempted play by Alliance. Drop the ward and keep running, and then see if they have the opportunity to, as Cloud9 go blind area, but doesn't happen there. One of the things that does seem to be lacking is that Ace is really not hitting that hard considering how far up he's in net worth. And he will have a very large damage upgrade coming in soon. He's got the Daedalus queued up, just buyback as well.
Yeah, looks like Alliance have very good info as to where Cloud9 are. Had a lot of wards around that top river area, and now they get an Arcane Rune, so 7-second cooldown on the Berserker's Call. May tempt them to try and find a kill or lead a fight. They're gonna ping out Ace here.
Savage Ward, they need a good one. They're not going to get it fast enough. That means Ace is going to be caught. Loda is going to gobble him up. The Assassinate helps give him the extra bit of damage needed. Now,
1,300 gold. 40 seconds with that minus 50 seconds. Hestejo is threatening the split push with a Desolator, so good news is if you don't want to buy him back, you can potentially trade Rax if you're C9, and they can delay things using the Chaos Offering, although if you drop the rocks now, you'll just be feeding them away, but it will delay things.
They are going to have the TP back. They're going to see if they can save their melee Rax. The Chaotic Offering does go down. They've actually got a melee Rax, and they managed to save their own. Range Rax goes down as well. Alliance actually lose out on that exchange. A huge pick turns into C9 getting a lane of Rax, and all Alliance get is a tier 2.
Yeah, Loda life steal invested into Jonas to get the TP out, and it was Baby Knight was just like a fraction of a bit too short with the rock to catch the Axe TP, but even so, ends up fantastic for C9. Hestejo's even going to get out of there, having all these items on him. He's been able to transition out of the Axe Scepter into some right-click damage with both Deso and Diffusal Blade. I think Alliance just completely underestimated his split push potential and thinking, oh, this is an Axe Weaver, he's not going to be able to do all too much right-click damage, and suddenly it's Alliance down a lane of Rax, something Cloud9 had struggled to do for 40 minutes. They had Aegises, they had every single big items they could hope for, and it's like, man, we can't take a Rax. All that needed to happen was for Lone Druid to die, apparently.
Only when Alliance is winning, they still lose. We're going to have them 5-man push out and take the tier 2 tower. They at least still have a better opportunity than they did for almost this whole entire game. Even if they didn't get that lane of Rax, they are still getting some map control. They're taking some of these outer towers. It gives them the opportunity. Another win, another pick could lead to them catching a whole lot more. Now they try and catch Ace. They try and get that pick immediately after the push at top lane with TP's coming in, but they're just shy of being able to get Ace with the call. He gets a 4-staff out.
And it wasn't just Ace, it was Hestejo bottom. I mean, he may get caught out here, but he did a lot of good damage. He's going back in for the tower, perhaps. Yeah, oops, doesn't get that right click off. Will get it and pay for it with his life.
Okay, well, I mean, that's still 80 seconds down. Can Alliance force a buyback? It's hard. They've got the top lane pushed out, but they need to push both bottom and mid. Otherwise, C9's just going to split push them.
And that's their Aegis down. Like that distraction, like that split push mid, and then the Weaver split pushing bottom is essentially trading. Like Weaver's basically traded his life for an Aegis. Limp BKBs. That's a misclick from him. I was suddenly come down and I see this golden shiny sniper, and that's his 10-second BKB down the drain. Fortunate.
Well, tell me you do it. Tell me you do it, gods. And if you're in this point as Alliance, you got 6,800 golds on paper. Would you do it?
You know, I definitely do it, but I don't. I also don't play to win. Sometimes I play for the entertainment value. You know, even when you're playing ranked, every now and then you get 7k gold a snipe, and you're like, this could lose my team the game. Who cares?
Well, Limp is going to work towards that butterfly, still holding on to the buyback, of course. Alliance are going to try and take some aggressive pressure, put it onto C9. Now they've got bottom and mid controlled. Of course, top lane still pushing out the super creeps on their way.
I mean, C9 need this Weaver to perhaps transition more into a core, because Warlock is not a hero that's going to scale all amazingly well. His rocks just get weaker and weaker as the game goes on. He went back for a Blink, so now it's Hex. The Blink Hex at least makes the Hex a little bit better. It still feels like a pretty shitty item pickup. The Shiver's Guard is what I would have liked to see, because I feel like that's a good defensive item for when he gets jumped. But it's always going to be useful. It's 15 armor, one of the best armor items in the game. And the active is just generally better than a Hex, but He'll go for that, it looks like, as his last item pickup. Any big talents coming up. Magic immunity for chaotic offering golems. That is not particularly useful. 15 chaotic offering golems armor, that is useful.
That is very useful. All that physical damage, you want some fun. He's so close. He's got the gem. Heal it. Cards his feeling. Gonna back away. Has to be caught in this spot. I need to reset up the trap a little bit farther back. At jungle is Hester gonna take this bait. He's got the Earth Spirit behind him. He might be feeling okay with it. You know, just one creep wave. That's all. It's just one creep wave. Go farm it. Those patient.
We'll get greedy first.
Yono-Safon, start making your way down. 4-step, 4-step.
I mean, Jonas could start farming the lane and try bait it himself, but yeah, be the best, safest play.
Joe going for it. Just get greedy. He's so close. 4-step forward. Gets the blink dagger. Pops out. Now the kick though. It lands on 2, but it's still enough. With a raged up Loda Lifestealer with an Abyssal Blade, they do manage to catch Hester Joe, and they're so important because it now means Alliance once again can get some map control, and who knows? Maybe they can push high ground. Maybe they can catch Ace. A swap. Oh no! Ace is dead. Ace is dead. This is surely going to be buybacks, and maybe Alliance. They've got a win condition finally. They force these buybacks. Yeah. I don't know if they keep going or not, but they force these buybacks, and then for the next 5 minutes, they have the opportunity to win the game.
And it's both split pushing heroes. The Weaver and the Lone Druid are the heroes that have been split pushing and causing them problems, so you're not worried about this top lane so much. Jonas is going to go back regardless. He's got boots to travel. They do need to be worried about buybacks with the boots to travel on cooldown for 10 seconds, but it seems Cloud9 with the low Lone Druid respawn, they just don't want to use it. They're like, well, we'll give them 2 full lanes to save our buybacks. They're going to drop rocks here. Loda, he's
chaotic
tanky.
Offering with the Sight Device. Another chaotic offering. It's coming close. The Fatal Bond damage is bouncing all those heroes in the back line. Rice now going to come forward. He does manage to get the Frostbite up onto Hanskin. That's going to be another potential kill. He is going to be just chased down. That is going to be the buyback on Hester. Oh, though. They managed to keep the Lone Druid buyback intact, and they kept their melee racks.
Oh, the melee racks, yeah. That is such a small little thing that could be a big difference between this like bottom lane having to be pushed out or not. Did have to commit the double rocks here, so I feel like trying to push and force a lifestealer buyback here isn't the easiest play to make. They'd much rather Roshan, and well, Cloud9, Rosh is a very short cooldown for them, so potential Weaver Aegis to make up for him not having buyback is there, but looks like first they want to try press forward. One of the nice things when you're pushing with Lone Druid, it's great because if you do die, that minus 50-second respawn means you're not being punished for dying. When you're defend, you get punished because 50 seconds is a lot when your enemy's already at your base.
I'm a little bit worried about Ace here. He's playing this very aggressively. Lip actually comes forward. Yonas-Safon intercepts Hester Joe. Hester Joe doesn't have buyback. He doesn't get off the time lapse. Ace, he's fighting up against Lip, but he doesn't have a BKB. He's getting kited around. The stuns are there, and they've taken down the Lone Druid. 48 seconds down with buyback. Noya almost gets dropped as well. They'll TP out successfully, it looks like, but no buyback. Wow. 70 seconds for the Weaver.
They could even check Rosh if they want. They have time to take Rosh and go for the high ground play if they're fast about it, but it seems like they want to make sure they get some damage done to the enemy high ground. They've still got a cheese, actually. Loda, with that in his backpack, this is looking very deadly. As the Lone Druid dying, like that's the okay death for them because of that respawn time, but the Weaver dying is just not... Oh, they want to go for it.
There it is. Baby Knight stops the initiation from Yonas-Safon, but they're still chipping away at that tier 4 tower. They know they have a minute to work with, not just the Weaver, but also the double rocks out from the Warlock. It's not there.
Team fight.
He can only upheaval. They've only got the Lone Druid's damage to be able to work with at this point in time. Yonas-Safon pops that Blade Mail. The Blade Mail is going to fade off in a little bit here. Another Sight Device placed onto Loda. He doesn't have buyback. Remember that, but Ace, he's also a little bit danger. EGM goes for him, straight up stuns him. Noya gets torn apart by Loda. Tier 4. He's down. Throne is exposed. It's already at 3k HP. Buybacks are rolling out from Cloud9, but Yonas-Safon intercepts. They're just going straight for the throne, and Alliance have done it. They've taken game 2. They will push for a game 3 against Cloud9. What a comeback from Alliance.
Such a classic Alliance game. One of those, you're down, you look like you're out, but you somehow put together something magical to turn the game around. I mean, Cloud9 did play their part in giving away some of those kills, but more than anything, it was Alliance putting themselves in position to find those picks. Like Axe, Jonas so patient in the bottom lane, finding the Weaver for the first time. EGM on the Venge, finding those swap catches as well. Both of EGM and Jonas were so crucial in those in the late game stage to find the pickoffs constantly, and that was absolutely fantastic late game play from Alliance. And well, game 3. Yeah.